and thank you for joining us for our workshop on advocating for your scholar. My name is Danielle Moore. I'm one of the Parent and Family Support Specialists with the Urban League of Greater Madison, and here with me is my counterpart, Veronica Castillo, and I will let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Danielle. My name is Veronica Castillo. I am also the other Parent Support Specialist here with the Urban League of Greater Madison. Thank you for joining us today for advocating for your scholar.
We'll jump right in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is advocacy? There's kind of two main ways that you can think about advocacy. So it can be speaking for or in support of another person, place, or thing. So you're using your power and your voice for others that may not have the accessibility to do so on their own, or you have a sort of place of privilege and you want to use that privilege in order to help those that are not as privileged. And another way to think about advocacy is taking some physical action to make change. So that could be doing a protest or raising funds in support of a cause. So it's that more kind of physical way of advocating, so taking some good action steps to make a change happen. So we're here to remind you that you are the first and best advocate for your scholar. As a parent or guardian, major key role player in your scholar's lives, you know them the best, you spend most time with them, you see them in a variety of environments. So you're able to take what you know about your scholar and use it to make sure that they're getting the support that they need, that they have the correct environment that they can learn in. Really anything that your scholar is experiencing, you're there to make sure that it's the best possible thing for them and their growth and learning. So just always remember that you're that first advocate for them and you are the best one for them. And it's important as their first and best advocate to make sure that they're also able to take care of themselves when you might not be readily available to help them out. So one way that you can help advocate for them is by teaching them some self-advocacy skills. So if they're in a classroom and an incident occurs, that they're able to take some steps to make sure that the situation dissolves, and then you can step in later if more action needs to be taken. So an important way to help introduce self-advocacy and kind of teach these fundamental skills to your scholars, to just have open conversations with your scholar. Talk about things that they're experiencing, how those things are making them feel, asking them how could you make the situation better, if it's not the best, kind of evoking how they're feeling and kind of triggering those key thoughts so that they can determine if the situation needs some further action to get better or to change in that positive way. This leads into encouraging self-awareness. So just really making sure that your scholar has good general awareness of how they're feeling. A lot of times we have that, intuition within us that tells us whether something feels a little off, if they're experiencing an injustice. You can feel it internally whether something needs to change or not. So just really encouraging them to lean into that and then to speak up for themselves or to find the support that they need in order to make that change. You can engage them in some problem solving skills that can go along with having those conversations. So you can identify the problem and think about different solutions to resolve the issue or to, make things right again. So having that restorative side of things, if your scholar was harmed in some way, emotionally, how can the person that harmed them restore that relationship and really bring in some justice to the situation, and how can things change for the future as well. You can teach them some communication skills. So some big ones, a lot of times when we do experience these, wrong situations or injustice, we get a lot of energy and a lot of emotion, but it's important when we're communicating out that we remain calm. Having them learn how to relax themselves and use their words in that calming way, speaking up and saying, hey, stop, like this isn't good. I don't like when you do that. I need a break, I need some space. Teaching them some key phrases that they can use in situations where they need to, step away or have some changes being made. So remaining calm, speaking confidently as well. And then also just knowing when to communicate a situation to people using details. This is what happened. This is what I feel needs to happen to have it resolved. Having open kind of that communication and conversations, teaching them those skills. It's also important. You can practice those at home, doing maybe some role play so that your scholar is more comfortable if a situation occurs. And then also just reinforce their confidence. All of our scholars are strong little beings, and they can, go through a lot, and they have all of that beautiful resilience within them. So just really encouraging them to be confident and lean into what they're feeling, because they know it's best for them too, and they have your support alongside of them. Okay, Veronica.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to be, so top advocacy skills. So this is really for your scholar, but also for yourself. So know your rights as a parent, as a legal guardian, know the rights for your students within a classroom, within an organization. So knowing your rights is key to advocating for yourself and your scholar. Also, asking questions is big. We ask questions when something, like Danielle stated, doesn't feel right, something makes you feel wrong. Why are they being taught this way? Why is my student getting this curriculum over this curriculum? Why was this handled this way? So never, ever feel bad asking questions. Ask as many questions as you need to ask to get the information that you need to better get justice for your scholar or yourself or your student, or just make the situation better. Also with advocating, stay organized. So from the moment the incident happens or the situation happens, make sure that is written down, who it happened with, what time, who was present. Also make sure you keep track of who you communicate with. So if you're going to go talk to the teacher, what's the teacher's name? What time did you go? Take notes. Even if you can't take written notes, maybe ask the teacher, is it okay if I record this? So I have my notes, right? So you have your conversation. So make sure you're keeping track of that. Let's say you send an email, save the email, print out the email. Make sure you're keeping track and staying organized with all your communication. It will come up when you're having these conversations. Who did you talk to? What questions did you ask? And you can have that all ready to go. That is a tool you will need in your pocket, because that is your evidence. Next is communicating effectively. So we understand when these situations happen, we get upset. We have these feelings of either complete sadness, it may trigger trauma, it may trigger a multitude of emotions. So we want to just, as also Danielle stated, when we ask our scholars to stay calm, to breathe, we know this can be very emotionally heavy. So learn to be able to write. So for instance, in my example, when I've stood up for myself and advocate for myself, I write stuff down. I write it down so I'm able to communicate what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, the questions I need to ask, because sometimes it can get emotional. So it's hard to communicate. So being able to keep yourself calm, prep yourself, and is the best way to communicate effectively. Emotions will get tied in there sometimes. Just remember to try to stay calm as much as we can to get through for our scholar and get them the best solution possible for them. Also, and lastly, we have know your key players. So within your school organization or organization in which you're involved, or the situation happened, know who you could and need to talk to. So knowing your key players is very, very important, and that's really depending on school district, organization, etc. So we're going to, on the next slide, show you the key players if you need support in any way for the Madison Metropolitan School District. One thing you want to keep in mind, though, for your key players is if you're in the Sun Prairie School District, for instance, go to the website. You will find a lot of key players there who you would need to contact. A lot of the key players, honestly, the first and foremost is your homeroom teacher, if it does happen in school. So know your key players as you enter any organization for your scholar so you can effectively advocate for them moving forward. So MMSD, who to contact. So this is the Madison Metropolitan School District, who to contact key players. Once again, every school district, every organization is different, but these are some titles that I've also listed that depending on where you are and who you want to contact, you might want to look for these titles. They may be the key players you need to talk to within your organization and your school district. So starting at the school level, if something happens at school, you want to contact and communicate with the homeroom teacher first, explain what happened, etc., get the communication from your student. Also, another key player, which I would recommend in looping into your conversation with your homeroom teacher, is the social worker. The social worker is going to be one of your biggest advocates. They have a lot of information. They have a lot of support. Social worker is a key player. Also, your other key player that I would also wrap up into this meeting is your principal or vice principal. These are the three key players at a school level that when you need to advocate for your student, you would want to communicate. The best way to communicate with these key players is usually either emailing them or calling them. Highly suggest emailing them. That way you have track of your communication. You can stay organized for future meetings. Let's say at the school level, you just do not feel like your situation is getting taken care of for your scholar, and or you feel like you need to advocate a little bit higher for your student, and or just advocate in general a little bit higher. So this is where you can go to an admin level. An administration level is usually at the school district level. And these are the school district key players who you may want to contact depending on your situation. So for MMSD, Fatima Bendata, she's the director of enrollment at MMSD. And really enrollment is if you have any situations where you need to advocate for your scholar when it comes to their placement in high school, middle school, elementary, DLI lottery, middle school library, lottery, any enrollment registration concerns would go to enrollment office, and they can help you advocate for your scholar in other departments if needed also. For legal services, you would want to contact, in this case, Aaron Kingston. He's the affirmative action officer. He will be your number one contact and probably be the number one contact MMSD puts you in contact with when advocating for your scholar. So he does a lot of the investigating on the MMSD end. So once again, if you communicate with any of these people, make sure you're keeping track of your emails and communications with them. Also, within legal services, you have Cherise Perry. She is an assistant general legal counsel. She can help you with any legal questions, and this could range anywhere for advocating for your scholar, which would be any legal question they can support you in. And those are their general numbers, so you can call and talk to their receptionist. They're very friendly, book an appointment, a meeting, etc. They can support you as much as they can. Also at administration level, you have your head social worker, and this head social worker is the district social worker. So he or she or they would oversee all the social workers in the district, so they could also support you there. You could also look for family, youth, and engagement department, or FACE as what MMSD calls their department. And these, all of these directors, this department specifically works with parents in general to help them advocate for their scholar and also do a lot of community information that you as a parent or might want to know about. So this is a great spot if you feel like no one else is listening or you're not comfortable reaching out to anybody else on this list. family youth and engagement is one of the best places to start. And last but not least, the superintendent of the district. This is the highest level of the highest level that you can get to at the school level. So if you have an extreme concern and want to advocate for your student with the superintendent after going through all these different people, or if that's just not working and you want to go to the superintendent right at the beginning, that is up to you. So that's Dr. Colton Jenkins. He is new to MMSD as of this year. You can contact his receptionist there and she will book an appointment or better support you with the information you need. So these are who to contact, key players for your advocacy for your scholar within MMSD. So please keep in mind, these key players are also in other school districts and other organizations. Just look for the titles. But we're also here to help if you have any questions or concern on who to reach out first. We're here to also advocate for you and your scholar. So for our drop-in hours, if you do want to reach out, have any questions, we are available Monday through Friday, 11 to 1, and also Monday through Friday in the afternoons. You can also reach us via our phone number or email. We're also on Facebook. So we're available in a lot of ways if you have any further questions or need any other support for advocating for your scholar. Ms. Danielle?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us for this workshop. If you have, again, any further questions or want more support, we're here to help advocate for you too. It's all just kind of a world of advocacy if we want to make this world a better place together.